Hello there, dear YouTubers. My name is King1993, and today is another day of me trying to explain which Nikke you should be trying to going for if you are a beginner or intermediate player. So without further ado, let's get started. Another part I forgot to add in the intro is if you are especially a player who doesn't actually use any real world money to get any of the special materials from the game, then this is also an important video for you. So without further ado, let's get started again. Now here is the thing. Before explaining anything, go to this section here, recruit. In the recruit section, you will see there is this thing called revise wish list. So what happens is every time you try to pull for a character, and when you select the character which you do not have and press on this confirm, then what happens is your chances of getting those character will highly increase. Okay, now other than that, the question remains is, okay, which type of character you should be going for. Obviously you should be going for a character which are highly strong, and if you do not have a very strong character, then your chances of getting the rewards in order to get other characters is gonna be lower. So how can you increase that? Well, there is a website that goes by the name brightwen.gg. Go to that place and click on the Nikke and the tier list, and then eventually come to this place here. Normally it will be selected this by default. Click on the boss solo, and then you will be taken to this list. Now here's the thing. There are so many Nikke, so I will categorize them into this category here based on the manufacturer. So first of all, let's talk about the abnormal. Now, what are the abnormal? The abnormal are the one that are going to be available for a very short period of time. So once their period is gone, they will be disappear forever. They will not have a rerun anymore. So from that point of perspective, if you are trying to go for the any of the abnormal, I highly suggest that you don't do that unless you like those specific character. For example, I like these two character here. I also like this one, but I was unable to get them. I do not like Himeno as much as I like Makima or Power, but I was unable to get them because their collaboration happened at the beginning, so which is why I was not capable of getting them. Now, I think Misato Katsuragi is a somewhat likable character for me, and Makinami Mari and Ainami Ray. These are my favorite character. And this character is not my favorite, but it is like one of those children. If I were to have a daughter like her, I would beat her up every day. That's the thing that I think of Asuka from Evangelion. Now, that is not the main point. The main point is your chances of getting them for a second time is not going to be possible. So don't waste your resources on them unless you just want to get them. Okay. So this is going to be the for the abnormal. Now, the question remains is, okay, do I have any of the abnormal? Yes, I have all of the abnormals except the chainsaw series, because back then, as I said, I was new. I didn't have enough materials as much as I do now, which is why I was able to get all of the three Evangelion 5-star Nikke characters, or whatever you might call it. Okay. Now here's the thing. So once you have done this part, now the thing that you will be going for is the Elysion. So the question remains is, which character should you be going for when you are selecting the Elysion manufacturer? Now here's the thing. There are a lot more Nikke below, but the ones that are highly useful are going to be on the top here. So if you are a beginner, then you should definitely try to be going for any of the character here except this mark here. Why? Because this character will appear once a year, but because the amount of resources it takes to get them to their max potential, if you are a new or beginner or a player who doesn't uses money that much often, then I highly suggest that you skip this character which is called Helm Aquamarine. So if you were to ask me, okay, which character you should be going for in this slot area, here, the one that you should be going for is going to be D Killer Wife Marciana for her healing capabilities, and any of these three characters. Obviously, this is a variation of this character here, and Helm. This is the original one, and this is the Summertime Vacation limited banner character. Okay, so based on that, these are the 5 characters that I highly suggest that you get at the beginning part of your game. Otherwise, if you were to get any of the other, you can get them. They are very fine. For example, I used to have Maiden. Maiden used to be on this top ranking here, but eventually she got down because other characters became much more powerful. To the point that Maiden, I basically use her because she was one of the five main characters who helped me uh, reach the 160 mark of the game. Okay, so this is gonna be the one. Okay, now once you have done that, the second one which I highly recommend is going to be the mislists. Now in the mislists, why I highly recommend them, because they are uh, quite more on the double S and triple S rank compared to the Elysion. Okay, so let's talk about that. So again, when it comes to this place here, obviously you'll have to select them. So even though there are many characters here that I still do not have, I think Pro is the only one that I do not have. Otherwise, I have all of the miscellaneous industry characters. Okay. Now here's the thing: which one you should be going for? Now here's the thing: Tia is a rocket launcher user, and rocket launcher user has a problem of you must need to release your mouse button, otherwise they will not hit the enemies. So from that point of perspective, if you try to go for litter, it is still a very good option. And Naga is basically I do not know if she's a DPS or support, because even though I have her, I even maxed out this character's ability, but I still haven't used her yet. For a different reason, which I will tell you later. Anyway, so if you are a beginner, then go for litter, because you'll be able to continuously hit the enemy without moving your finger from the mouse button, and go for Naga. Okay. Now, when it comes to stove, if you do not have litter, then you can definitely go for stove, because stove, you can probably guess, double S TOV stove is, despite being a fire name, she is actually a water elemental type character, and she's a support based character. Okay, and this one is Maxwell. Maxwell is a DPS character, and majority of the time the burst 3 characters are going to be DPS. So when you see any of the character on the burst 3 category, you will have to assume that they are DPS. Same can be said about Elysian as well. This is a support type, and this is also support type, and these three are DPS. Same will be here as well. Now if you were to get any of the other, use them, but your main objective should be this top ranking one. Okay, and why is that? Again, for the same reason, that they will be able to help you in the long run. Now before Pilgrim, let's talk about Tetra. Now Tetra has a lot more character than any of the other manufacturer. Okay, a lot. Okay, let me drink a little bit water, otherwise I can't talk properly. Okay, now here's the thing. The amount of character that are in the Tetra are so much that despite having all of these characters, I am still missing many more, such as 8, 9. Total 9 character I still do not have from the Tetra manufacturer. So the question is, okay, if there are so many, which one should I be getting? Well, first of all, let's talk about the burst one. When it comes to burst one, the one that you should be going for is Exia and volume, not noise or Alice Wonderland Bunny. Why is that? Because if you have burst 1 and burst 2 character who has a cooldown of 40 seconds, whereas this one has a cooldown of 20 seconds, the 40 second is going to take longer time for their burst. Sorry about that. For their burst to activate. So from that point of perspective, try to go for Exia or volume. Now, let's talk about burst 2. In the burst 2, there are two here. One is Rosanna and another one is Lance. When it comes to Rosanna and Lance, Rosanna is, this one here is a limited time banner character, so your chances of getting this character is gonna be once a year. it is not highly possible if you are a beginner or a player who doesn't have enough money or any of the crystals that are needed to summon them. Okay, so what can you do? You can definitely choose this one here, which is called Blance. And here's the thing, if you do not have Noir, then don't use Blance alone. Why? Because Blance alone has a cooldown of 60 seconds, but when she is with her sister, these are twin sisters, then what happens is Blance burst cooldown lowers by 40 seconds and turn into a 20-second one. So that's a important part. So I highly suggest that you go for Blance with Noir. And if you do not have Blance or if you do not have Noir, then you can go for the other one, such as Dola, Leona, or Viper. Why? Because these two are very useful and they have a cooldown of 20 seconds. Do not go for Biscuit. Biscuit has a cooldown of 40 seconds. Okay. Now, once the burst 2 category of Tetra is done, the second one which will remain is going to be the burst 3. Now, burst 3 Alice at the beginning of the game till now, like from launch day 1 to now, Alice is still the strongest DPS character in the game. I do not know how that is possible. But when you were to say, okay, what about this and these two? These two are limited time characters. These three here are limited time character. So the one that you should be going for is going to be Noir and Soda Twinkling Bunny. These two are gonna be the burst 3 characters. So if you were to ask me, okay, which one would I choose? I would choose Exia, Volume, Blance, Alice, Noir, and Soda Twinkling Bunny. Or if you were to ask me, okay, between these two, which one should I choose? Because I only have 5 options available here. Then I highly suggest that you go for uh, either Exia or Volume. Then go for uh, Blance and Noir and Soda. So Soda or Alice. Okay, so this is the recommendation which I highly suggest that you use, because these Blance and Noir are support based characters, and their support are so good that when they first came out, they were the top ranking characters in terms of doing DPS support for the main DPS characters. So from that point of perspective, Noir and Blance is still a very high important options if you are trying to go for a Tretta build. Okay. Now the last one is going to be Pilgrim. Now obviously Pilgrim even has characters based on this over meta, and below the meta there are others as well. So let's talk about that. So unlike these three manufacturers, Pilgrim are hard to get. Your chances of getting a Pilgrim is going to be extremely low. How much low is it? Well, let me tell you something. When the game first came out, I had all of the uh what should I call them? Pilgrim character. But the only Pilgrim character I still do not have right now is Noah. So you can probably guess that getting Noah is not because I was avoiding her. No. I didn't got Noah because my chances of actually getting a Pilgrim character is actually very low, because majority of the Pilgrim character which I have except Noah, I was lucky to even get them, and rest of the other I was able to get from the banner. So let's talk about that. So when it comes to burst 1, I highly suggest that you go for Dorothy instead of Rapunzel, because Dorothy is going to be a very good support in terms of doing damage buffs, but Rapunzel is more of a healer and a reviver. So she will be able to heal and revive the team, but her reviving capability costs about 60 seconds. So from that point of perspective, I highly suggest that you don't use Rapunzel, rather go for Dorothy. Okay, or Dorothy. Now the second one I'll be talking about is Crown. Now Crown, if you ever have a chance to get a banner for Crown again, I highly suggest that you go for this one, because the only burst 2 characters that are in the triple S rank category is actually Crown. but not Noah or Nihilister, because they used to be at the top, but now not anymore. So from that point of perspective, I highly suggest that you go for Crown, because there are no other meta burst 2 character in the game at the moment. Okay, now the last one, which is going to be the burst 3. Now in the burst 3 you can definitely see red hood here. You will also see that there are red hood in other places as well. That is because in case if you do not have red hood, what happens is red hood is capable of doing burst 1, burst 2 and burst 3. But if the other characters were to perform this burst, then red hood do not need to cause the burst to happen again. Now her burst obviously has a cooldown, so based on the cooldown you will only be able to do it very shortly, like very less within the game. So don't assume that just by having red hood you'll be able to use her all the time if you are going for a pilgrim build. Okay, so I highly suggest that you try to get Dorothy or Crown or any of the other burst 2, because obviously, as I said, the burst 2 at the meta rank are only 1. Now the question remains is, okay, how good is Redwood? Redwood is very good, as you can see here at the triple S rank. Same goes for Scarlet Black Shadow, and these two used to be at the top. Now they are in the second ranking. One is Mordenia, another one is Snow White, and this one is the current era Scarlet, whereas this one is the old era Scarlet. Okay, so the current era is more relaxed than the old Scarlet, so that's the whole difference here. This one is a lightning assault rifle user. Basically speaking, her sword is as fast as an assault rifle, whereas this one, she is a wind elemental user with a rocket launcher. Now you can probably guess which type of character you should try to get, and you should try to optimize them, but that is not the main important point. The main important point is, okay, which set am I using, which Nikke set am I using. The Nikke set that I am using currently right now is this. Okay, now the question remains is, okay, if I were to have all of the Nikke, then why am I not using this on the top? The reason I am not using those on the top is because in majority of the fight right now, I need a good healer and a good buffer. And Blance is capable of doing all of those healing and buffing at the same time. And it is actually very good. Now Dorothy, the reason why I use Dorothy is because Dorothy is a assault rifle user, and not only that, the thing is she's stuck in the what should I call it, in this chamber, what should I call it, the upgrade chamber where your Nikke gets upgraded, a synchro device. Yeah, so she is stuck at the synchro device at the top ranking here, which is why even if I want to unload her and use this one, it is actually not possible because she's stuck there. But damage wise she is actually very good, and so as support, so that is the reason why I still use her. Now what about any other combination? Is any other combination needed for my case? No, it is not needed. Why is that? Well, allow me to explain. In the arc area here, once you enter this arc area in this interception, so in this area here, the boss area, whenever the boss area appears, this is the only place where I use Modenia, because she is capable of blocking majority of the enemy's missile attacks, which are highly problematic. Okay, so when it comes to the boss called Gravedigger, I actually use Modenia in the middle to make this character uses her burst first. Then I basically aimed at the Gravedigger continuously, where in the second burst 3 activation of Red Hood, I basically aimed at the Gravedigger, and the Gravedigger dies a lot faster. So that's the whole thing. So overall, the question remains is, why should you be following this guide? Well, it is up to you. What do I mean by that? According to me, if you were to follow my guide, then you will be getting a lot more resources, and the more resources you have, the more you will be able to get limited edition Nikke, for example this one, and many other. So from that point of perspective, if you were to have a meta team, then that meta team will be able to help you get majority of the other characters which are not meta but characters that you really wanted to get. So this is basically the September 2024 update, and I hope that I'll make another update next month or maybe a few months later. Normally I wanted to do this update once every month, but because of my job and many other things, I was unable to do so. So if you find this video interesting, then please give a like and subscribe and click the bell notification icons to get more of this type of video on a regular basis. Thank you and see you again next time.